Well, welcome back to the potentially, though I hope not, market crash edition of the Stocks Trade YouTube. All right, everyone, welcome back. I am lead trader with Stocks Trade, Tim Bowen. So you got on your screen in front of you a chart of the SPY, the spider, the S&P 500 index, which is the number one indicator that I use and that I recommend to track the overall market. Listen, no index is perfect. A lot of people like to use the QQQs, which is the NASDAQ. A lot of people like the Dow. What I don't like about the Dow is, keep in mind, the Dow is only 30 stocks. At least the S&P is composed of 500 stocks. Doesn't mean it's better or worse. I just like the S&P for a better read on the overall markets. And you can see the last week, basically going back, today is the 28th, going back to the 21st week today. We were kind of grinding back, things were looking good after that base through most of April, and then just a waterfall on the 21st, 22nd, a little bit of a bounce on the 23rd, ugly day again on the 26th. And, the thing is, remember, I say, and this is something that I would recommend, and this is something that I mentor in the Steady Trade team. Check out the Steady Trade team below. Don't play guessing games, but as my favorite quote, and I always use this quote in so many of these videos, it's probably my favorite trading quote of all time, and it's by Jesse Livermore. You need to read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. It's a 100-year-old book, and it's just as applicable today. Understand, please read that book. We do a lot of book reviews. I've mentioned it a few times. Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. Actually, it's not by Jesse Livermore. It's about Jesse Livermore, though people theorize that maybe he was involved in the writing of it. No conspiracy theories here. Anyway, it's a great book. Please read it. And the quote is, there's a time to go long, there's a time to go short, and there's a time to go fishing. Okay. And today, right now, as we hang around in the middle of earnings season, I think it's a time to go fishing. Okay. It's a time to be a little, to dial back, trade smaller, take advantage of these times. That's one thing that I say, whether you paper trade smaller, or don't trade at all. And I know people hate that. There's probably like everybody's hitting the downvote button on this video right now, but understand there's so much to learn. There's so much work to do outside of actually pressing the buttons. You've probably heard me give this analogy, but I think it's so applicable. And it's that the analogy of the NFL quarterback, okay? Whether you use Tom Brady or Joe Montana or anybody, okay? Whoever your favorite is of all time, keep in mind an NFL quarterback spends roughly an hour on the field, okay? Roughly an hour a week on the field, actually making the pass, actually handing off the ball, calling the play. That's what I talk about. That's clicking the buttons. That's hitting the buy, that's hitting the sell, that's hitting the, entries, exits, etc. But what makes the great quarterbacks, it's all those other hours of the week in the film room, on the practice field, in the weight room, dialing in nutrition, doing all these things that then, again, Brady is a great example. Whether you love him or hate him, look at the longevity. One of the reasons he has the longevity that he has had is he's taken care of himself through training, through nutrition, etc. And then he wins the rings because he's in the film room and he's practicing and he's working hard every day. Okay, look at his metamorphosis. Look at the infamous draft photo of him. Okay, he's 25 years older, and he looks better today than he did back then. That's work, that's effort. Review your data, track your data, fill out your spreadsheets, paper trade, watch videos like this. If you've got other training materials, maybe you got a trading DVD, maybe you bought Tim Grattani's DVD a year ago and you're a third of the way through it, finish it. Take advantage of these times because busy times will come. They'll come back, I promise you. I remember doing a very, very similar video of this in January, and January was ugly, okay? January was dreadful for day trading. February, insane. March, insane. Up until a week ago, April, insane, okay? So, time to go long, time to go short, time to go fishing, but take advantage of this time. Don't goof off, okay? I know I get called like the Dave Goggins or the Jocko Willink of trading education. Number one, I work hard. I don't work near as hard as those guys. Maybe someday I'll get there. But, I get called that because I'm always talking about no days off. I mean, listen, I haven't taken a day off from the markets in 15 years, okay? Literally. On vacation with my family, I'm still looking at the markets early in the morning. Now, I may go on a day trip and take some time off, but at the end of the night, guess what I'm doing? Firing up those scans. What's the hot sectors? What's moving? What's working? Right now, great example. Afternoon plays have been working, okay? Stab was a great afternoon breakout, still holding in the highs, okay? Sketchy biotech, but puny float, puny market cap, gapped up last night, held VWAP, and it just broke out at noon. It's currently basing 2 cents from the high of the day, okay? IMTE. These afternoon trades have been on point. So you can recognize that if you're still showing up every day, even if you're not pressing the buttons. Okay, let's move on. Tim, how do we know when to come back? Okay. So my hope is things will change tomorrow, but the big headwinds we have are situation in Ukraine, GDP number, big miss today, just tons of bad economic data. And, situation in, Russia, gas prices, embargoes, all this stuff. So much bad news out there today. Like again, today, it was almost impossible to find, other than Elon and Twitter, it was impossible to find a positive news article. So that's what you're going to look for. You're going to look for a shift in the sentiment. Talk about that fear and greed index, okay? Fear's over here, greed's over here. When we love when everybody's greedy, okay? Warren Buffett said it, okay? Warren Buffett doesn't day trade, but Warren recognizes that when people are greedy, it's when you want to be taking advantage of that. When people are fearful, that's when you start short selling. That's when you start selling your swings. Exit with the fear. Take advantage of the fear. So if you're doing that work and you're tracking that data and you're watching the S&P 500 and you're watching the big gainers and you're looking for a hot sector, that's one of the big components. You'll see us come rapidly out of these doldrums if all of a sudden, let's just choose electric vehicles, okay? Because it's been a runner many times over the last couple of years. All of a sudden, you start getting multiple green days in a bunch of these trashy EVs. Maybe Tesla starts basing back above 1,000, heading towards breaking out. You'll see a shift in the market. That brings back greed. Sorry. So that also being said, as of right now, we got a bunch of earnings. I mean, listen, Facebook dropped earnings last night. Facebook's up freaking 17% on earnings. So tonight we got Apple. We've got several other big names. If we get a continued positive numbers out of these earnings winners like Facebook, that'll turn things around. So track your earnings winners. We're in the very basically beginning initial third of earnings season. Watch the news, track that, etc. Okay. And you might say, a lot of people say, hey, the news doesn't apply to penny stocks. You're right. Okay. That's one of the reasons we love penny stocks is they're frequently disconnected from the overall market, but you still need greed. Okay. Nothing drives penny stocks more than FOMO and greed. And when you start getting a more positive read, you start getting a hot sector, that's when you come back out of retirement. And that's when it's time to go long, baby, as Jesse Livermore would say. Now, vice versa, okay, a level I do want you to watch, if you're asking, hey, when do you start looking to get aggressive? And this goes back to that video I did in January. That 420 level on the S&P is key, okay? Back last January, it held back in March. It's trying to hold today. But if you're looking to now take the latter part of the Jesse Livermore quote and start selling, shorting that 420 level. If we start, look at today, bounce day based above. If we start putting multiple days or weeks below 420, it's going to get ugly. Okay. That's your key level. Oddly enough, Elon's favorite number. So, all right. Have a great day, my friends. Stay safe. Put in the work. Listen, we've got hundreds of videos, hundreds of podcasts, hundreds of blog posts. Again, go to the archive on YouTube. Quite frequently, I point out all the free resources we're given. Put the time in the film room. Put the time in the gym. Don't waste this time. But be careful pressing buttons right now. Stay safe, my friends, and we'll see you next time.